Could this be a push? Could this be a final push for a sign of things to come? Lynne Roberts, head coach, LA Sparks, planting seeds in the ground for CaitlinClark to blossom and eventually put on a LA Sparks uniform. The talks were once hot.
Have you noticed how one conversation refuses to disappear from the WNBA world? Every time CaitlinClark steps onto the court, the focus somehow shifts away from the game itself and toward one question that keeps growing louder. Is Indiana Fever really the best place for the league's biggest superstar? After another wave of debates surrounding injuries, officiating, coaching decisions, and the Fever's overall direction, fans have started connecting dots that many people ignored just a few weeks ago. Now, those conversations have taken an unexpected turn, with the Los Angeles Sparks suddenly becoming part of the story. No, this isn't about confirming a blockbuster trade or claiming that a deal has already been made. Instead, it's about examining why so many basketball fans, analysts, and insiders are beginning to wonder whether the Sparks could eventually become a realistic destination if things don't improve in Indiana. From Lynne Roberts' vision for Los Angeles to the familiar faces already on the Sparks roster, there are several interesting pieces that have fueled this discussion. So today, we're separating facts from speculation, looking at what has actually happened, what people are saying, and why CaitlinClark's future has become one of the biggest conversations in women's basketball. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this topic refuses to go away, and why the next few seasons could shape the future of the WNBA itself. Before I dive into why the Los Angeles Sparks have become part of this conversation, it's important to separate what we know from what people are simply speculating about. There is no official report saying that CaitlinClark has requested a trade or that the Indiana Fever are shopping their franchise player. However, in professional sports, conversations often begin long before any official announcement is ever made. Teams evaluate opportunities, executives monitor situations, and fans notice every small detail. That's exactly why this story has continued to gain momentum. The biggest reason these rumors refuse to disappear is simple: CaitlinClark isn't just another talented player. She has become the face of a new era in women's basketball. Every arena she visits sells more tickets. Television ratings rise whenever she plays. Merchandise sales continue to reach impressive numbers, and every post involving her generates enormous engagement across social media. When one athlete creates that kind of impact, every franchise in the league would love the opportunity to build around her. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Sparks are entering a completely different phase of their organization. After several challenging seasons, they appear determined to return to championship contention instead of remaining in a rebuilding cycle. That's where new head coach Lynne Roberts enters the picture. Roberts earned tremendous respect during her years at Utah by developing competitive teams, identifying talent, and creating a winning culture. When the Sparks hired her, it signaled that the franchise wanted more than gradual improvement. They wanted to compete again. A coach like Roberts understands that rebuilding through young talent takes patience, but adding a transformational superstar can change everything almost overnight. Every championship team eventually finds that player capable of elevating everyone around them. Naturally, whenever fans discuss transformational players in today's WNBA, CaitlinClark's name immediately enters the conversation. Another reason people continue connecting these dots is the roster Los Angeles has been assembling. The Sparks have added players with strong basketball IQ, reliable shooting, and versatility. Fans also noticed the arrival of Kate Martin, Clark's former Iowa teammate. Their chemistry during college became one of the biggest storylines in women's basketball, and many supporters immediately wondered whether that move could eventually make Los Angeles more attractive if Clark's future ever became uncertain. Now, it's important not to jump to conclusions. Teams sign players for many reasons, and friendships alone don't determine professional basketball decisions. But sports fans love finding connections, and whenever familiar faces reunite, speculation naturally follows. That's exactly what has happened here. While all of this is happening in Los Angeles, questions continue surrounding the Indiana Fever. Expectations were incredibly high entering the season. With Clark developing into one of the league's brightest stars, many believed Indiana was ready to become a consistent championship contender. Instead, the season has included injuries, difficult losses, controversial officiating discussions, and constant debates about coaching decisions. None of these issues automatically mean Clark wants out, but together they have created an environment where every setback becomes national news. That's the challenge of being the league's biggest attraction. Every substitution, every timeout, every disagreement on the sidelines, and every hard foul receives endless attention. Situations that might barely make headlines for another player suddenly dominate sports shows and social media when they involve CaitlinClark. As the spotlight grows brighter, so does the pressure on Indiana's front office. Fans aren't just evaluating wins and losses anymore. They're asking whether the organization is providing the best possible environment for its superstar to compete, stay healthy, and chase championships. Those questions don't necessarily predict the future, but they do explain why conversations about other destinations continue to surface. And that's where the story becomes even more interesting. Because if there's one franchise quietly positioning itself to become relevant again, it's Los Angeles. Whether intentional or not, the Sparks have started building a roster and a culture that many observers believe could appeal to elite talent in the years ahead. If the rumors surrounding CaitlinClark's future have gained momentum, it's because the conversation is no longer just about basketball. It's about whether the Indiana Fever can create the kind of environment where one of the sport's brightest stars can continue to grow without constant distractions. Every championship organization eventually faces moments that test its leadership, and many fans believe Indiana is approaching one of those moments. One issue that has repeatedly dominated headlines is officiating. Throughout the past several seasons, Clark has found herself involved in numerous physical matchups that spark debate across sports media. Some analysts argue she's targeted because opponents know slowing her down is critical to winning. Others believe the physical play simply reflects the intensity that every superstar eventually faces. Whatever side fans choose, one thing is certain: almost every controversial moment involving Clark quickly becomes one of the biggest stories in the league. Even Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White has publicly emphasized the importance of consistent officiating. After several games, she acknowledged that protecting players while maintaining fairness should remain a priority for the WNBA. Those comments fueled even more discussion online, with supporters debating whether Clark receives the same whistle as other elite players or whether the spotlight surrounding her naturally magnifies every questionable call. Then there is the injury conversation. Whenever a franchise player misses time or plays through discomfort, concern spreads immediately. Every update becomes breaking news, every practice report is analyzed, and every appearance on the injury report generates fresh speculation. That's exactly what has happened with Clark. Instead of discussing only her incredible shooting range, court vision, and ability to transform an offense, many conversations have shifted toward durability and whether the team can keep her healthy during a demanding WNBA season. For a player carrying so much responsibility, staying healthy isn't just important for Indiana, it matters to the entire league. Television audiences increase when Clark plays. Arenas fill more quickly when she's on the schedule. New fans continue discovering the WNBA because of her exciting style of basketball. That level of influence naturally creates enormous expectations, both inside and outside the organization. At the same time, every coaching decision is now examined under a microscope. Rotation changes, timeout strategies, late-game play calls, and minute restrictions all become talking points. When the Fever win, many praise the coaching staff for putting Clark in positions to succeed. But after difficult losses, criticism often returns just as quickly. That's simply the reality of leading a team with one of the league's biggest superstars. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Sparks continue building a different kind of narrative. Under Lynne Roberts, the franchise appears focused on establishing a long-term identity built around player development, competitiveness, and future flexibility. While no official reports suggest that Los Angeles is actively pursuing Clark, fans continue wondering what the franchise could look like if a generational talent ever became available. The excitement surrounding that possibility isn't just about basketball. Los Angeles is one of the biggest sports markets in the world. Major endorsement opportunities, national media attention, and a passionate fan base naturally make the city attractive to elite athletes across every professional sport. That's why conversations connecting Clark to the Sparks continue appearing online, even without any confirmed negotiations. Still, separating possibility from probability is essential. Professional sports are filled with rumors that never become reality. Every offseason produces countless trade ideas, free agent predictions, and social media theories. Most never happen. But occasionally, a conversation that once sounded impossible slowly becomes realistic as circumstances change. Right now, CaitlinClark remains the centerpiece of the Indiana Fever's future. The organization has invested heavily in building around her, and fans still believe this young core has the talent to compete for championships in the coming years. However, if expectations continue to clash with results, questions about the future will only grow louder. And that's exactly why this story refuses to disappear. It's not because anyone has confirmed a trade. It's because basketball fans understand that situations can evolve quickly, especially when one of the league's biggest stars is involved. Now we arrive at the biggest question of all. If CaitlinClark is one of the most valuable players in professional basketball today, what happens next? Does she remain the centerpiece of the Indiana Fever for years to come, or could another franchise eventually create an opportunity that becomes impossible to ignore? The reality is much less dramatic than many headlines suggest. Right now, Indiana still controls Clark's future under her current contract, and the Fever have made it clear that she is the foundation of everything they are building. Franchises don't simply move players of her caliber without an extraordinary reason. Players who can change ticket sales, television ratings, merchandise revenue, and on-court success are incredibly rare, and every organization knows their value. However, history has shown that professional sports can change very quickly. Teams that appear stable one season can look completely different just a year later. New coaches arrive. Front offices change direction. Star players develop new goals. Championship windows open and close faster than anyone expects. That's why fans continue discussing possibilities long before they ever become realistic. For Indiana, the mission is straightforward. Build a roster capable of competing for championships while giving Clark every reason to believe her future belongs in Indianapolis. That means surrounding her with reliable shooters, strong defenders, experienced veterans, and a system that maximizes her unique passing ability and deep shooting range. Winning solves almost every problem in professional sports, and if the Fever become consistent contenders, many of today's rumors will likely disappear on their own. But if the team struggles to meet expectations over the next few seasons, the conversation could become much louder. Superstars want to compete for championships, and organizations are judged by how well they support their franchise players. Fans understand that reality, which is why every setback immediately sparks debate about what comes next. On the other side of the country, the Los Angeles Sparks continue working toward their own future. Under Lynne Roberts, the organization appears committed to building a competitive culture instead of chasing quick fixes. The Sparks have focused on developing young talent, improving roster depth, and creating an identity that could attract elite players down the road. Whether CaitlinClark is ever part of that picture remains completely unknown, but it's easy to understand why basketball fans continue making the connection. Another interesting factor is the business side of the WNBA. The league has experienced remarkable growth over the last few years. Attendance has increased, television audiences continue reaching new highs, and sponsorship opportunities are expanding across the sport. Much of that momentum has been driven by exciting young stars, with Clark playing a major role in bringing new fans to women's basketball. Because of that influence, every decision involving Clark naturally receives enormous attention. A coaching adjustment becomes national news. An injury update dominates social media. Even routine comments during press conferences are analyzed from every possible angle. Few athletes in any sport operate under that level of constant attention. Still, through all the noise, Clark has consistently maintained a professional approach. Rather than fueling rumors, she has continued focusing on improving her game, supporting her teammates, and representing the league with maturity. That attitude is one of the reasons so many organizations would love the chance to build around her if the opportunity ever existed. So where does that leave this entire story? At this moment, there is no confirmed trade, no official negotiations, and no evidence that a move is imminent. What exists is a fascinating conversation fueled by fan speculation, media discussions, and the natural curiosity that surrounds one of basketball's biggest stars. The Sparks have an ambitious coach, an improving roster, and a clear vision for the future. The Fever have one of the league's brightest young cores and a superstar capable of leading them to championships. Which path ultimately proves successful is something only time can answer. One thing, however, is undeniable. Every game CaitlinClark plays will continue to shape the future of the WNBA. Whether she spends her entire career in Indiana or one day writes a new chapter somewhere else, her impact on women's basketball is already changing the league forever. And until the day those questions are finally answered, the conversation surrounding her future isn't going anywhere. Before you go, I want to hear your opinion because this is one of the biggest debates in women's basketball right now. Do you think CaitlinClark's future is still with the Indiana Fever, or could another team like the Los Angeles Sparks eventually become a realistic destination if circumstances change? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read as many of them as I can, and I'd love to feature some of your opinions in a future video. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth coverage of the WNBA's biggest stories, trade rumors, player updates, and behind-the-scenes analysis, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. We're covering everything from CaitlinClark, Angel Reese, Aya Wilson, Paige Buchers, and the biggest headlines shaping the league every single week. Thanks so much for watching and for being part of this incredible basketball community. Stay informed, stay respectful, and remember, until something becomes official, it's always important to separate confirmed facts from speculation. We'll continue following every major development and bring you the latest updates as they happen. I'll see you in the next video.